here in Brazil, my economy has been hit by the crisis in the Persian Gulf. We know what has happened to our economy and how the prices are increasing here in Brazil. So that's why.
Well, good morning, my Teaser King family. How is everybody today? Average day in baseball, I won 5 units. And mostly because I hit the 4-unit play. Milwaukee was the lock with their ace on the mound. We'll go through baseball in a minute. NBA today.
How dangerous is the situation getting on the battlefield in Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine?
Well, the battlefield, first of all, you have to separate the two. There's battlefield reality and then there's this other place.
All right, so what's going on here?
Long-range drone operations.
I got to turn off
It's primarily psychological.
YouTube. So what do we got going on here? We got gold and silver, which we always start with. So we got gold sitting at, we had a 10 o'clock drop, of course. And then, so we're at 44.57, silver 73.82. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with silver in the paper market. 44.57 gold. So it's just, part of it is this cross where the dollar gets stronger, gold goes down. It has nothing to do with there's no correlation between gold and the dollar. It's like correlation between Mantle and maize. If Mantle goes out, maize does not go down, or vice versa, or Brady in Montana. There's no correlation. So because the dollar is stronger against these weak currencies, what the hell does that have to do with gold going down? Oh, the dollar went up, so gold went down. Why? You can't answer it. I was watching Luke Groman yesterday, and I don't know what the hell he said. I'm going to play a little of it to rip him apart. Oh, it's Luke Groman. He's the smartest guy in the world. No, he's not. He's an idiot. He's a Keynesian, and he can't explain his shit. And he does. You can tell the guy doesn't know. It's like Michael Saylor. When they talk, you're like, what did you say? I have a master's. I don't know what he said. I can't. It's not English. It's not real. It's just a bunch of gobbledygook. So I will break that down. Anyway, so paper gold's being manipulated, of course. I don't know if people are going into Bitcoin, people are going into oil, but oil came way down. So oil was down to like $90 a barrel. So it's not like everybody's in oil. Who the hell's in dollars? You got to be kidding. And this is the other thing that people aren't not getting, that the dollar's worthless. Only Egon and I think Mark McGuire understand that. Alligator doesn't understand it. And the rest of Egon's guys don't understand it. They'll keep promoting gold, but they don't understand it's because the dollar's worthless. The dollar's printed. It has no value. It's worthless. Nobody wants it. The petrodollar, they talk of that. What does that mean? The petrodollar is you had to buy Saudi oil with US dollars. And then they would get all these dollars. Somebody said, secure my dog on this property. I don't have a dog. I don't know what property you're talking about. I love these little bullshit stuff. So the petrodollar was intent on keeping the US dollar because we went off of gold because everybody started asking for the gold back. So the French came in and said, okay, we want here's all this French dollars. We want gold because we don't trust the US dollar because you're printing it to death. And that's when they said, well, we need something else. The whole gold, the whole, whatchamacallit, Bretton Woods system was collapsed because the US kept printing money in the 60s because you have these idiots in charge who don't know what they're doing going, hey, let's print for Vietnam. Let's print we'll give everybody money and welfare and all this stuff. But you can't. You had to have the same amount of money that you had gold. Now, maybe you should have raised the gold price. Maybe that would have been more prudent than printing money. But as the French and other countries started seeing that, they said, give me back my gold. Your dollar isn't worth anything. And then they came out with the petrodollar, which basically, because we don't have enough money, because we want to spend more than we make, we want to spend 2 trillion, we have 1 trillion. Well, how the fuck can you spend 2 trillion when you only have 1 trillion? You can't, right? So we'll have the petrodollar, and we'll defend you, Saudi Arabia, because you got all the oil. We'll defend you. And then I think the way it worked was all the oil went through Saudi Arabia. So the other countries, Iran, Iraq, and everything. That was that oligopoly where they set the oil price instead of the free market. I love how they keep getting away from the free market and it never works. So the idea was you buy oil with dollars. This is in the 70s until real recently. And then Saudi has the dollars. What do they do with them? The dollars are meaningless to them. They're Saudi Arabia. They have their own dollars. What do we do with American? It's sort of like me here. I have this €5. What do I do with it? It's really, I can't use it here. So I would buy treasuries in the euro with that. And that was the idea. So the Saudis would buy our treasuries, which would allow us to spend more money than we have, because we're getting treasuries. And what else can the Saudis do with the money? And then they get a little interest. Well, what they were doing probably the last 10 years was also buying stocks and Bitcoin. That's how these are all going up in price. That's how the manipulation's happening. So that's why the stock market's going through the roof, because they don't want to buy bonds anymore. So I'm Saudi Arabia, and I know the dollar's worthless. And I'm Putin, and Putin says they're Snickers wrappers. And all these countries know that the dollar is worthless. So what do? They start buying stocks with the dollar. They start buying Bitcoin with the dollar. Anything but dollars. And I don't know why they think stocks are better than bonds, but they know the bonds are worthless. You got a $40 trillion debt, and the odds on you getting paid back are 0. So if I owe $40 trillion, thank God I don't, and you've loaned me money. So you said, here's $100,000, and I'll take 3% interest for 2 years. How are you going to get paid back? Well, sorry, you're at the end of the line. I owe $40 trillion out, not just your 100. So how are you going to get paid back? Well, I can print money for you. How about if I print you $100,000? It'll be worth nothing, but you won't know the difference. And that's where it's happened. So Saudi Arabia said, they said, we're not buying treasuries anymore. We're going to buy gold, and we're going to buy maybe stocks. Then you have, you know what? We're going to take yuan, because yuan is convertible to gold, which Luke Roman doesn't understand. So that's convertible to gold. So you know what? We'll take yuan for oil, because we don't want the dollar anymore. We'll take the yuan. Now, not that keeps the value of the dollar up. You've put it to death. The dollar has no value. You might use it to buy oil with, but Saudi's getting a bunch of crap dollars. Now they can still buy gold with these dollars, because people haven't quite figured it out yet. And so if you want to buy gold, you can still use the dollar for it. So that's really what's happening. So Saudi's now accepting yuan and gold, and some countries still need the dollar, but they're not necessarily buying treasuries with it. China and Japan were doing the same thing. They're not buying treasuries with it, because we would buy stuff from China and Japan. Toyotas and whatever China sells, golf clubs and T-shirts and everything they sell very cheaply because their employees don't make a lot of money. There's no health care and all this other stuff. So their costs are much cheaper, which is why GM and Ford went there in the 1980s to cause this whole mess. Was we'll get engineers cheap. Yeah, that lasted about 5 minutes, and the engineer said, "I'm worth $100,000, not 10, so I'm going to make $100,000." And so they're the ones who started this whole "let's go to China because it's cheaper." But anyway, so the gold so you got dollars. What do you do with them? Same thing we do with them. We turn it into gold and silver. We don't want the dollar. I emptied the bank account. I emptied the stock market. It's all in gold and silver. And that's the best way to play it. So Saudi Arabia is also not stupid. What are they doing? They're putting their money. They got some money in stocks and then some money in gold and silver, obviously. And then, of course, they got all the oil. So the petrodollar is meaningless. It was a way to force people to buy treasuries is gone now because now they're not buying treasuries. Like I said, they're buying stocks or gold and silver. And that's why the gold price is so high. And it's funny how Luke Roman says, "Oh, they're letting the gold price go up." No, they're not. China's buying out all, you idiot. He really has no idea what he's talking about. But everybody seems to like him because he's bald and he talks really funny. It makes no sense when he talks, but no, it's over to your head, so you don't know what he's saying anyway. You can go, "Wow, he must be smart. He's using big words." But it's like AI. It's not real. So that's where we're at with the petrodollar is meaningless. If the dollar is worthless, the petrodollar is not going to help you. All it does is when they buy oil with dollars, Saudi Arabia then takes the dollars and they're buying gold and silver with it, but they're supposed to be buying the treasuries. All that does is let you spend more money. It does not hold the value of the dollar up. The dollar has no value, and the dollar will go out when nobody wants it. And it's pretty damn close that nobody wants it. Again, they don't want the dollar. They want the oil. So people are just using the dollar to get the oil, but they're not using the dollar because they want the dollar. And if the end product, Saudi Arabia, gets the dollar, they're not buying treasuries with it either. They're buying gold and silver, stocks. They're probably buying Amazon and that. That's probably why these keep going up. But the market value is wrong. They're going to lose their ass because it's going to collapse because these companies are going to be in big trouble. Amazon, everybody's laid off and that they're going to, I don't even get Amazon. It's a delivery service. Why would you pay for that? Go to Myers, go to Walmart. Why would you pay for shipping? Oh, I'll pay for the membership and then I get free shipping. Why would you do that? What are you, an idiot? So I don't like Amazon. I think I've ordered one thing and I had to return it because it was bullshit. Now, about that phone call at the end of my class yesterday was a gold store in Ann Arbor. And so here's the story. So this one gold store close by, they'll give me 94% of spot for everything. Krugerrand, Maple Leaf, and dollars. They treat gold as gold. An ounce of gold, I'll give you 94%. The store I always go to is 96% on the Eagle, but 92% on the non-Eagle. Krugerrand, Maple Leaf, 92%. So if I want to sell a Krugerrand, I can get 94. Why would I go there for 92? Why is he differentiating? Then the Ann Arbor store calls, and he said 99, 98%. He says, "What do you have?" I said, "Well, Eagles, Maple Leafs, Krugerrands." He says, "This is their difference." He said, "No, I'll give you 98% for all." So I'm basically getting spot from this guy. So I'm going to go there, obviously. Now, here's the problem with the market. What are you doing? Right? My store, why are you 92% on your non-Eagles? they're 94, but I can get 98. You're 92. You're not competitive. Who's going to take their Cougarans and Maple Leafs and Philharmonics and little Kangaroos that I got there? Nobody. Anybody that checks will never go there. They'll all go to Ann Arbor, but I don't know how many people know this Ann Arbor store. I kind of found it just Googling gold stores when I was first setting out. That's what I wanted to do. So I only go to this store because it's close. It's right. It's 2 miles. Well, now it's basically 2 miles away. I'm on 7. It's at 5. So to go by, it didn't really matter. I was paying $17.50, or I could have paid $17.40, and it was like, well, what's the difference? It's going to cost me that in time and gas and driving out. It's a wash. But now, if I'm going to sell a Cougaran, and I might as well, if it's 98%, I might as well sell the Cougaran instead of the Eagle. Why? Well, because I think the Eagle in the long run will carry more weight being in America. And the Cougaran, I bought it for $80 less. So I might as well make up on it there. So I'll get 98% spot. Now, the problem is getting spot to, as we see, it's 44 and change. It's like, can we get back to 5,000, please? Now, I basically have a month. I have a little bit of money left, which would basically pay the bills in July. Should be okay with it, but it's a little tight, and I don't want to be that tight with it. Now, I could sell a quarter ounce, roughly at 4,800 would be 1,200. So it's roughly going to be $1,000. So I could do that. I don't need to sell an ounce, but I'll have to figure out at the time if I want to sell a 1 ounce Cougaran or a 1/2 ounce Eagle. So let's say it's 40, let's call it 4,600. That'd be 2,300 at 98%. So it's, going to be 2,200, which will allow me, give me a good 6 months of waiting for the price to finally go. The last thing I want to do is sell an Eagle at 4,500, and then in August it's now back to 6,200. I'm like, fuck. That's what I am trying to not do. So I'm waiting, and we keep sitting here for 2 months at 4,500, 4,600. This war breaks out, and the dollar goes up because of whatever, and then the gold goes down because the dollar goes up, even though nobody's selling. Nobody is selling gold and silver. This is not a free market. In the market, like I say, with Coca-Cola, it's $2.99, and if you nobody wants to buy it for $2.99, it goes 2 for $5 because they can't sell it. That's the market. The market is what the buyer will bear, and the seller has to meet what the buyer will pay. The buyer's not going to pay $3 for Coke. You can't sell it for $3, and that's their problem. And it's constantly 2 for $5. Just a crack up finance team there, marking your price too high that nobody wants it, and then having to put it on sale. I told the manager the other day, why don't you just mark it $2.50 instead of this 2 for $1? Or do you want to sell 2 for $5? This is the plan to move your. But if you marked it at $2.50, you'd sell your inventory. You're not selling it because it's $3 and nobody wants to pay $3 for it. But in the real world, that's not what you want. So this is the problem. Just a second, I want to close my window. So I figured out my cooling. If I leave that open all night, it gets down into the 60s and it cools down, and I don't have to run my air at night. And then as it gets warmer during the day, the warm air comes in. So if I close it, I keep the warm air out and I keep it cool in here longer. And then when I go to the pool, go to the store, go to the bank, go to the gold store, I'm out when it's warm. And then when I go swimming and I come back, I can open it up again and let the cool air in at 7, 8 o'clock, I don't need to run the air conditioning. So I am a clever boy. So this is what's happening because the oil price is going up. Some countries need the oil, so they need dollars to buy the oil. And that's why the dollar is getting stronger versus their currency. The dollar is not strong at all. As we know, the dollar is worthless. How bad are these other currencies? So all the currencies are terrible because they're not backed by gold. It's just paper. They're putting a number and a president or some sort of, like in the euro, they're putting they're putting the thing at Greece. I think this is Greece. So all they're doing is putting a number and a Greece and calling it a euro, but it's not worth anything. It's just a piece of paper. However, the stores are kind of ordered to accept it. So you go to a store in Europe or you go to a store here with dollars and they take you. You go to Kroger's, they're going to take. It's funny how they don't want dollars. So you got to use your debit card or your credit card. It's like, but that is dollars. I don't even understand that. So as far as this petrodollar, it really doesn't matter. It's really not demand it's a medium for the dollar. In other words, they'll take the dollar to buy the oil. They don't want the dollar. And then when Saudi Arabia, so the end item, so it's Turkey buying, selling Turkey liras and then buying dollars, but they were only buying dollars to buy the oil. And then Saudi Arabia gets the dollars at the end. So it's really Turkey's not demanding dollars, they're demanding oil. And then what does Saudi do with it? So what Saudi does with the dollars is, of course, turn it into gold or buying stocks with it. They're not really turning it in for treasury. So the whole petrodollar idea is gone, long gone. And there's really no demand for the dollar. In fact, the demand's for oil. And with the oil price going up, they need more dollars to pay for the oil. And that's all that's going on. But for some reason, because of that, it's keeping the gold price down. And it's so much higher. It's like oil. I showed you that one video where the guy said, well, oil is really $200 a barrel, but it says 89 on the chart, right? The oil price today is let's take a look at it. And it's really misleading. Oh, my phone. I mean, here's the oil price at 82, but nowhere in reality is it 82. It's 150. Oh, this is paper oil. So this NYMEX is the same as COMEX. It's manipulated by JP Morgan. So this $82 oil price isn't real. Just like the gold price isn't real. And so when asked, when does it move up? The answer is, well, when they need oil, they'll have to pay $150 a barrel, even though NYMEX says 82. The same thing with gold. Once the dollars start collapsing and everybody runs to buy gold and silver, they're not going to look at COMEX 4,500. They're going to look at basically COMEX won't even be a player in it. It'll just be, oh, it's really 10,000 an ounce. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I need it, so that's what I'll pay for it. So there's two different products. The products like oil that you need for your car and you can't substitute. You can maybe buy an electric bike or a regular bike where you're pedaling, but if you're going to go a distance or get on the highway, you're not using a bike. So you have to have gas to put in your car. There's no other way around it. And forget the electric. That's bullshit. So I could maybe go from Shell to Sunoco or Marathon, but I still need gas to put in my car, to drive my car, to get around. Same thing with oil. Once the dollar runs out, gold, once the dollar runs out, which it's gone, and people then need money, they're going to trade their money in for gold and silver, and they won't have a choice. And you'll have to buy the gold because what else are you going to buy? You can buy silver, and that's what will probably happen as gold gets more expensive, but gold's going to really shoot up. China controls it. They have 80,000 tons of it. So, of course, they're going to set the price. I don't know what Luke Groma was talking. I'll play the Luke Groma thing. I don't know what he's talking about with China and, nobody wants the yuan. Well, the yuan is backed by gold now, fella. So, yeah, people will take the yuan. Saudi Arabia is taking the yuan for oil. That's the whole point about free trade. Why do we trade? China doesn't have oil and they need oil. So they're going to trade for the oil. So they go to Saudi Arabia or Russia and they give them gold for the oil. And Saudi Arabia and Russia go, yeah, that's a fair trade. And so they are paying with gold or with the gold back yuan for the oil because China doesn't have any oil. But China makes things that Russia and or Saudi Arabia needs. And that's what free trade's all about and why you do free trade. All right. So with that said, that's what's happening. But the dollar is printed too much. The fact there's petrodollar or we're the reserve currency doesn't matter. I'm sure the Roman currency was the reserve currency. Yeah, that worked. I'm sure the British currency was the reserve currency. The French currency was the reserve currency. The Spanish currency, all of them were currencies were the reserve currency. They all went out. It doesn't matter. People, that shows you how weak their currencies are. If the reserve currency is the U.S., the Turkey currency is worse. Otherwise, the Turkey currency, they wouldn't want dollars. So just because they want dollars to buy oil does not mean there's a demand for dollars. It means there's a demand for oil. And therefore, the dollar is worthless because nobody really wants the dollar. Turkey's not buying the dollar to keep. They're buying it for the oil. Therefore, it's not demanded. It's bought to buy the oil, but it's what does Saudi Arabia do with the oil? And they're not buying treasuries. Nobody will buy the treasuries because they're worthless. The U.S. is broke, but, if they don't say it, maybe nobody will realize it. I don't know. All right, let's look at baseball yesterday. And anyway, there's 98% gold, and it's for anything. Like my guy's 96 for Eagles with 92 for non-Eagles. The Maple Leafs, the Cougar Hens. The other store is 94 for all of it, but this guy's 98, 99 for all of it. He gets it. Gold's gold. My guy, for some reason, differentiates Eagles and non-Eagles. So I won't be selling at my store, but I'll be buying there. But I'll be selling to this guy in Ann Arbor. I've been there a few times. Anyway, well, let's look at it. We start off with the Tigers over 8. It's a push. They win 8-0. They had Joe Flaherty pitching. I came with a 5 ERA. And I'm looking at Tampa, and they got 6 hitters that hit like 270, 280, 290. And I can't figure out is they can't get a hit. They can't get a run. I'm counting on Tampa. They played a 10-9 game. They got Flaherty, 5 ERA, and they lose 8-0. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it got a push. I see it 6, 8. It was 8.5. The line went down to 8. So I couldn't believe that Tampa didn't score. Then they went to their bullpen for 3 innings. This guy who sucks, they couldn't hit him. I don't know what Tampa was doing. They couldn't go over. Maybe the game was fixed to stay at under 8.5, under 8. I don't know. Detroit wins 8-0. They got their second baseman back, who's a decent hitter, and they got one of the outfielders who's a pretty good hitter, although he's hitting 230. And they got him back. So they're starting to get players back. Now, I normally don't notice this in most teams because I'm just looking at but because I'm in Detroit, I hear the lineup, I hear the guy on the radio, and I go, oh, okay, he's back in that. So I thought, great, they'll be over 8, not a problem. Then we had Philly over 8, and they win 3-2. And I both Aaron Nola, now he's starting to pitch. So what happens is you get Aaron Nola gives up runs, and he's got his 5 ERA, and then he gives up 2 runs to San Diego, who's a pretty good hitting team. We know Philly's a good hitting team. They were playing a shit pitcher, and they win 3-2, so a 5. So again, scratch your head. We have Washington over 9.5, and Miami wins 7-3. So we get a winner there. We have the Yankees, and with Steve Schittler going, and they lose 9-4. This smells like the bullpen gave up 5-6 runs in the late innings, but the Yankees at home lose, and Cleveland's not a big hitting team, and their ace is on the mound, Schittler. It's just like when Scanes loses, you can't believe it, but that's what happens. Then Cincinnati they win 4-3 over Kansas City. So that was a good one. The White Sox we played, and they lose 6-4 to Minnesota. Dean Martin on the mound, and I'll tell you the correlation between all this in a minute. So Minnesota wins 6-4. First time we've lost with Dean Martin in a while. Then our lock, Milwaukee, they beat the 49ers 8-3. That was our 4-star lock, -199, Milwaukee, and they win. Oakland over 7.5, and they beat the Cubs 2-1. Like, what the fuck? It was a low total. Both pitchers were like 4 or 5 ERAs, and the total was 7.5, and I had to bet it just because of that, and yet it was a 2-1 game. So I don't understand that. Then we have the Steelers over 9. They beat Houston 10-6. They covered all by themselves. And then California over 8.5, and they get over. Hello, come on. And California loses to Colorado 8-2, but that's okay. We're over 8.5. So overall, we go 5-4-1. So take the push off for the Tigers. 5 winners, 4 losers, but we hit the 4 unit in Milwaukee. So that's almost like 2 winners. So we end up plus 5 units. Because to me, a push is a push. So it's a no bet with Detroit. And then we did have a 3 unit on Oakland over. I was shocked on that one, but we have the 4 unit Milwaukee. So we go 5-4, but plus 5 units because we win the 4 unit. And that's the idea, to not bet every game 2 units, that we have our lock and 4 units. It does win, fortunately. Now, what am I driving to here as far as why did we lose, which is a very critical part of my betting, is to look at the game and go, why did I lose? So let's delve into the White Sox. We got Dean Martin pitching. So how did Minnesota get 6 runs on Dean Martin, and they only got 4 against the pretty weak Minnesota pitchers? So let's get into it. Well, here's the problem. Dean Martin only goes 4 2/3 innings, gives up 10 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, and he pitches 92 pitches in 4 and 2. He doesn't even go 5 innings, and he's had 100 pitches. Now with this stupid pitch count, the coach takes him out. Doesn't even finish the 5th, but he's given up 10 hits and 6 runs. And that is the common denominator. I mean, here's the Twins. Prelop with this 5.26 ERA gives up 6 hits and 4 runs. He does what I'm expecting: the 6 hits to 4 runs, and he goes 94 pitches in 6 innings. Then the relievers come in, and this is what really a 4 ERA, a 5 ERA, and a 4 ERA, and it's 0 runs, 0 runs, 0 runs. This is the problem I have with these bullpens. It's like they get in and, it's like, okay, we only need you to pitch the 3 batters. And the guy with the 4.07 ERA gives up 2/3 of an inning. Then the guy with the 5.19 comes in and he gives up 1 hit and no runs and 1 walk. And then the 3.90 pitches an inning in a third. He gives up nothing. A 3.9, a 5. So this is the problem. So the biggest problem is these things. And when you even look at the batting order, 249 hitter drove in 2 runs, a 248 hitter drove in 2 runs, a 294 hitter sitting 9th. So this Minnesota manager should be fired. He starts off with Buxton, which is a 258. Then he's got a 257 hitter, a 229 hitter batting 3rd, a 228 hitter batting 4th, a 265 hitter 5th. And then it's a 257 hitter, then 249, 248. Why the hell would you bat a 294 hitter 9th? So pretty good batting order for Minnesota, which is why I didn't go under. With Dean Martin, I would have thought that, but they hit Dean Martin. So you got to be careful there. But Dean only pitched 4 2/3, gave up 10 hits and 6 runs. And, you wonder if he maybe should have pulled him earlier, but that's what happens. Let's go to the Yankees and let's see Steve Schittler. What the fuck happened to him? Cantillo for Cleveland, 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, gives up 4 runs. We should have won the game. We got 4 runs off of this guy. He pitches 91 pitches in 4 innings. And then it's 5 relievers, and none of them give up a run. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4.5. So not really good ERAs. So you end up pitching 6 pitchers in the game. And this is the part. This is the tougher part about baseball now is in the 4th inning, the guy goes out and you have a new pitcher for 1 inning, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. What's going? So they pitch hard for 1 inning and they're done. What is this? This isn't baseball. If I look at Cleveland's hitting, a 290 hitter, a 260, that's 242, and then of course their last hitter, the shortstop's hitting 295. Let's bat him 9th. So he only gets up 2 times. Well, I guess he got up 3 times. You got guys going up 5 times, and your 295 hitter is 1 for 2 with no walks. I don't understand. I guess sacrifice the Rocchio, RBI, sacrifice. He had a sacrifice fly. And I don't know. So he got a sacrifice fly. Anyway, why is he batting 9th? Why do you have your guy hitting 295? So they have 1, 2, call it 3. They got 4 hitters, and they get all these runs on Steve Schittler. It just doesn't make sense. And again, Steve Schittler, 4 innings. He pitches 70. This is really strange. He pitches 76 pitches, 4 innings, gives up 5 hits and 5 runs, and then 4 relievers come in. And then here's the difference. Dovell gives up 4 hits and 3 runs. What are you leaving the guy in for? And I don't like this. They got to pitch to 3. He's got a 6.04 ERA. What the fuck am I bringing in a guy with a 6.04 ERA into this game? Because it was still competitive. And that was in the 4th, 6th. This is the 8th inning. And let's see, the 8th inning. Yeah, they gave up 3 runs. So it's 5-4. Cleveland, it's 6-4, and the guy gives up 3. So they still had a chance. So I don't know what happened with Schittler, why they took him out after 65 pitches. Again, why are we even counting? You got to go 8 innings there, fella. And we got Mariano Rivera in the 9th. Anyway, so this is what I'm noticing is these guys with the they're worried about the pitch count, which they shouldn't be. And the guy goes 100 pitches in 4 or 5 innings. We're losing Scanes in the 5th inning. Well, wait a minute. We're betting that Scanes is going to go 7 innings. In my mind, when I see a Scanes or I see Chris Sale or Schittler or one of these guys, I'm assuming they go 7 innings. And then we got bullpen 8th and 9th. And then sometimes the bullpen shuts them out and sometimes they give up 3 runs. That's the fun part about this. But you're assuming that Scanes is going to come in and shut you out for 7 innings. Maybe you get a run on him. So it's an under bet and it's a Steeler bet. That's what you're assuming. That's why we look at the pitcher. He can control the game. He can do it. But when he's bad, Schittler gives up 6 runs yesterday. I mean, there's nothing. Scanes gave up a lot of runs. Scanes only pitched 4 2/3 inning, and he pitched 100 pitches. This is a problem. This weakens the league. This weakens the product because now the best pitcher is that, again, they still want to play money ball, which is still analytics, which still never works. Okay, so they got it. And so that's created this need for more relievers, but it's actually killed the game because these relievers suck. And so most of them are minor leaguers. And so you're dealing with a lot of minor league relievers in the game because there's certainly can't be this many good pro pitchers. I mean, you've never had that many. You have maybe 10 that are really good, all-star. Scanes, Schittler, Chris Sale. And then most of them are like yesterday, Joe Flaherty for the Tigers with the 5 ERA. He's not even a major league pitcher. But he's out there because he's adequate. So what do we take out of that? Maybe he's getting better. Oh, he was dog shit for the first, for the last 5 games, he was dog shit. Yesterday, he pitched well. And that's why I'm looking at the pitcher streaks because you want to see how's the pitcher doing individually. Is he, Flaherty threw a shutout. Oh, okay. Now we'll see what we bet him the next game. But again, it's hard because it's a matchup. That's against Tampa. This is, next game's against St. Louis. Well, it's not Tampa. Every team's going to hit you different. So there's so many variables in baseball. This is why AI could never work. But you kind of try to take the best variables or the most meaningful variables and go. But that's what I'm noticing. Why did we lose with Scanes? 100 pitches in 4 2/3 innings. Why did we lose with Schittler? And these are easy bets that we're making. Well, we'll take Schittler, boom. He'll shut him out, which he normally does. And then 6 runs in 4 2/3 inning. And then you get to the bullpen. And it kills me is they all go 1 inning. And it's like, can't they go 2 or 3 innings? Why just 1 inning? It makes no sense. This is where the managers really get their heads up their ass. They don't know what they're doing, the managers. Now, the starter, first of all, you need to take the pitch count out, and the starter needs to go at least 7 innings. Now, yesterday with Schittler, he gave up, 6 runs in 5 innings. Okay, maybe, at 3 runs, you're out. And that's what he should have done instead of getting him to the 5th inning even though he's giving up 10 hits and 6 shots. Obviously, he doesn't have it yesterday if he's giving up 10 hits. Now we'll keep an eye on him next time he pitches. All right. So that was baseball yesterday. So we still made 5 units. We hit our lock. And that's good. So I'll try to announce locks when I see one. I give you the free play. The free play was the White Sox with Dean Martin, and they lost. My apologies. But the lock won 4 units. All right. Today, NBA final. We'll get back to baseball today. NBA finals, we've got actually on regular TV, ABC, San Antonio minus 4.5, 218.5. The way the Knicks are playing, I'm not going to bet against them yet. This is game 1. I'm going to bet game 2. I am not betting game 1 because I have no idea. Winnebago is going to dominate, or New York's going to play, or they're going to be scared. How both teams play, because San Antonio has played a much tougher schedule. They had to beat Minnesota, and then they had to beat Oklahoma. And the Knicks basically beat Philadelphia and Cleveland, like 2 minor league teams. So San Antonio has kind of been in it, right? Against Oklahoma, they were down 2-1 and had to win or go down 3-1. And then they lose game 5, have to win game 6. And then obviously they have to win game 7 to win the series. So they came on when they needed to win. They played well. Winnebago, very good. Again, he's the X factor because he's 7'4". You go in the paint, he's going to block half the shots. He also shoots threes, which I hate. A guy 7'4" should not be outside of the lane ever. Should not be shooting 3-point shots. He can make them maybe, but let's see how consistent he is. But I don't like it at all because the odds on hitting it are about 15-20%, especially when the pressure's on late in the game. You want him dunking because I'm pretty sure I'm going to make every one of my fucking dunks, which are worth 2 points, and the 3-point shot, which I'm maybe 15% on, especially in pressure time. Let's not take those. So I don't know. Again, Winnebago is a huge edge. The Knicks have been playing lights out. Let's watch game 1. Maybe you bet the total, 218.5. Do we think it's going to be over or under? The Knicks seem to score. I doubt their defense can handle Winnebago. This is not Cleveland they're playing or Philadelphia, although they did. If you want to look, maybe you look at, again, Philly, the Knicks against Embiid, and try to take something out of that. Well, they beat Embiid, and here's Winnebago, and go from there. So I don't really know. Normally, I like playing the Winnebagos because it's a big man's game. But right now, let's watch. Even the total of 218, it could be 200, it could be 240. Again, I don't like betting like this. I have to have a reason. I don't have a reason right now. Yeah, San Antonio's at home. Just played an exhausting series with Oklahoma. The Knicks, I don't buy this rust thing. It's basketball. It's not that hard to put the ball in a big hole. I mean, come on. It's probably the easiest sport there is. Baseball, you got to hit a ball. It's curving. It's fast. Football, you're getting beaten the hell up. And, it's the fact of you're going to get hit. Basketball's nothing. It's a nothing game. I mean, here, put this ball through this hole that's a lot bigger than the ball. You're not really going to get fouled. If you get fouled, you go to the free throw line. So there's no fear of getting hurt. There's no fear of getting tackled. And it's not like golf or baseball where it's really hard to hit the ball. This is simple. You got the ball through, and here you can even take 5-6 steps. You can walk half, from the half court to the rim. You can walk. They won't even call traveling on you. So I'm going to watch this game, and we're going to bet the loser back. Whoever loses, we're betting back in game 2. We hope New York wins because we want the real bet will be San Antonio. They can't go down 2-0 and then go to New York and get swept. They won't get swept, but if you're down 2-0 and you go there, they'll probably, if they did, they would probably win both games in New York and we beat 2-2 because that's what seems to happen. anyway, so let's just watch this game and learn. All right. Today's baseball. It's 11:40, so even if we get an early game, let's see. And it's now 6:03. See, it's just May. I move in, and it's June, and now it's June 3rd. Unbelievable. All right. 105 game, it's 11:40. So that's the first game, so we got a good hour. Okay. Miami, 106, 8.5 to Washington. This game went over yesterday, and we got a winner. So Mike Meyer, 3.0 ERA against A. Alvarez, who has a 0 ERA. This is ridiculous. So we're going to go into each pitcher. Max Meyer from Minnesota, Jesse the Body territory. And, well, he won 5 in a row, and he lost in 10 innings to the JETSs. Well, the team did. He's a starter. I never heard of him. 6 innings, 7 innings. Now, here's where it gets weird is he gives up 1 run, then he gives up 0, then he gives up 2, then he gives up 4, and then he gives up 0, 0, and then he gives up 6. So what do you take out of that? I don't know. The Mets. He plays the Mets the 23rd. They win 4-1. He takes the Mets the 29th, same team. But it's in New York, and he gives up 6 hits and 6 runs. This game's at Washington. Has he faced the Redskins? No, he hasn't. So, I don't know. He's gone 106 pitches. This is weird. He went 106 pitches in the 6 innings. The last game, he gave up 6 hits and 6 runs. But then he gives up 95, and he pitches 7 innings and gives up 1 hit. What is this manager doing? In 6 innings, he gives up 3 hits, and he pitches 97. So why would you leave him in for 106 to get through the 6th inning and give up 6 runs? Terrible managing. So, yeah, this guy's most of the time pretty good. He gave up 4 runs to the Twins, and that's it. Otherwise, he doesn't. That's it. He has had 2 bad games. So we probably look at that. We go, okay. So the last game was a nightmare, but in the whole, he's only had 2 bad games out of 10. Now we got Washington with Olvera. Now, keep in mind, this was high scoring yesterday. Andrew Alvarez from Anaheim. He's pitched 5 games. He's won 4 and lost 1. Well, the team's won 4 and 1. I just look at how the team did. And I don't know what he is. He pitches 4 innings. Gives up 4 hits, no runs, 3 innings. And this is starting April and then May. So he pitched April 19th and then that till May 15th. So he's been injured. 3 innings, 4 innings, 1 in the 3rd, and 3 innings. So he's a 3-inning guy. He gives up a lot of runs. 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 ones twice. How the fuck do you show a 0 ERA? Now he's got a 4.02 ERA. Here's where you get the ERA 4.02, and last year was 2.31, and then God, he hadn't pitched for 8 years. What the fuck? How do you're out of it for 8 years? Well, would you get into accounting? I mean, so he's got a 4.02 this year, so he's not a good pitcher. He hasn't pitched a lot. But he seems to be a starter. So here they say 0, and I don't get it. It's a 4. So I got Max Meyer, a 3 ERA against Alvarez, a 4. We went over yesterday. Do we want to fuck with this one? I don't know. I'm going to take a pass at it. I think Meyer wins. He's pretty consistent, but we're gonna watch. Well, let's see. We might come back to it, but no. Detroit at Tampa. Detroit won 2 in a row. So now they're only 14 games under 500, which is exactly what they are on the road, 14 games under 500. Now I don't see Detroit winning tonight. We got Melton with the 1.50 ERA, who is he's played 2 games. So he lost 4-3 to the White Sox, and he beat Baltimore 4-1. 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run. He's pitched about 80 pitches a game. And I don't know. Doesn't really tell me much. Losing to the White Sox wasn't his fault. It was a late home run that did it. The bullpen sucks. He pitched in 16 games, 4 starts, 2.76 ERA. And then he's pitched 2 games, which he started a 1.42 ERA. Well, you don't get enough last year. So he's a 2.5 ERA guy, maybe. But now you're going against Nick Martinez, and he's their ace. Martinez. Let's see. He's 2-4. He's 6-1 his last 7. The worst he gave up, he goes 7 innings, 6 innings, 7, 8. He'll give up 8, 9 hits, 7 hits, 5 hits. And the most he's given up is 2 runs. 2 runs, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 1, 1. You're not getting a lot of runs on this guy. He'll go 7 innings. The Tigers are going to play, let's try to get a 10 pitch at bat, Joey, even though you can't hit. Spencer Torkelson, he's always up to just get a lot of pitches and get a walk. Pitches right down the middle. Why didn't you swing? Well, I was trying to get a walk. I don't really hit. Just amazing, the Tigers. This seems like a high total, 8.5. Melton, I don't know. Not enough information on Nick Martinez. So we're going to go Tampa Bay here. T-Bay, minus 142. 2 units. Now, this is their ace. So, yes, the Tigers will try to run the pitch count up. He should get 7 innings. They have good bullpen. He's a righty, so the lefties will hit for the Tigers, but they ain't going to hit this guy. This is what you're looking for. You want to bet the ace. It's the consistency. He should give up 1 or 2 runs is it. So betting the overs out of the thing. How long this Troy Melton guy pitches, I don't know. He's only pitched 2 games. So probably a low-scoring game with Martinez. But again, keep in mind the Tigers are going to play money ball, and they're going to try to get 20 pitch at bats because that's real clever baseball. Well, we can't hit, so let's try to hit a bunch of foul balls and let's try to walk because we can't hit. We have 2 hitters on the team that hit over 250. So let's try to draw walks and get the pitcher out of the game. This is how sad baseball is getting. So let's take Tampa there, 2 units. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not giving picks. Okay, so there's a free pick for you. I'll give you a better free pick. Minnesota 145.9. Fetty for the White Sox 503. Bradley 321 for Minnesota. I'm just going to check pitchers for streaks. I'm so used to just analyzing every game. So there's one free pick, Tampa. And I'll give you a second free pick. People are paying, so I can't. If I give all the picks away, then why would they buy? Let's see. So Fetty's win a couple, lose a couple. He goes 3 innings a lot. 4. He has gone 7 and some 5s. Last 3 games, 4, 3, 3, and 5 and 4. And he gives up a lot of runs, 8, 4, 2, 4. Okay, so Fetty is garbage. And we saw Minnesota can hit. So let's see what this Bradley's up to. Taj Bradley. Nothing there. And he gives up some runs. Okay, so I know what I'm doing in this game, and you don't unless you pay. Okay. The JETSs go to Seattle, play the Seahawks. The Seahawks would kill them, although they don't have Kenneth Walker. The Mets, Seattle minus 139 and 7. The Mets, Freddie Peralta 355 against Franklin Kirby of Commando with a 377. These are the games that I just scratch my head at because I don't know what's a 355 pitcher. Is he good? Is he bad? Is he going to shut out? Is he going to give up 100 runs? Peralta's won 4 out of last 5. 4 runs, 4 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs. He does give up runs. Seattle with Kirby. Couple of wins, couple of losses, and he does give up some runs. All right. So what I'm checking on is he on a big winning streak or a big losing streak? And what I notice when I'm doing that is he'll win 2, he'll lose 2. He loses 1, he wins 1. So it's not like you're going to catch that big of a. I don't think a streak is that big of a deal for the pitcher. We do find a few that have that. Maybe we get Paddock for Cincinnati today, but that's the key. So right now, both pitchers give up some runs. It's at Seattle, 340. I'm gonna take a pass on it. San Diego, Philly. This was a 3-2 game. I watched some of it on the bike yesterday. Philly minus 209. Okay, this will be your free play. Philly minus 209, and it's going to be a 3-unit free play. Bon appetit. We got Ferris Bueller, 4.94 ERA, going against the ace, Chris Sanchez, for Philly with the 1.48. So we are taking Philly and Chris Sanchez against Ferris Bueller. This is Bueller stinks. Let's look at his last 5 games. And he's actually won 4 out of the last 5, which is amazing. He goes 5 innings mostly, gives up 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 4 runs. 2 runs and 4 runs. There's only been 1 game he hasn't given up runs. He beat Oakland, he beat Seattle. Well, he didn't, but the team did. They beat St. Louis and they beat the 49ers. And that's it. So let's see. Yeah, ERA 4.88. It was 5.45. Last year it was 5.38 for the Dodgers. So he's basically a bum. And then we look at Sanchez. Christopher Sanchez. He was in that James Bond movie with Timothy Dalton. And he's won 5 out of his last 6. Yeah, he lost to Cleveland. That was that 1-0 game. You don't get a lot of runs on this guy. Holy fuck. The last 5 games, he hasn't given up a run. Wow. Okay, it's enough. That's why it's the free play. I'm going to go 4 units on this guy. This is where the gut comes in, saying this is perfect. We got their ace who doesn't give up a run going against Bueller, who hasn't. Every game gives up 2-3 runs. Philly lost, or no, they won 3-2 yesterday. All we need is them to win. The total on the game 7.5. I wouldn't touch because Sanchez will shut them out. Bueller will give up whatever 5, 6, 10 runs to Philly. And that's the problem. So you really don't know over under, but what you do know is Sanchez doesn't give up a run to San Diego and Bueller, who it's terrible. So this is probably the easiest game we'll see in a month. Take Sanchez, go Philly, beat San Diego. So that's your free play. Boston and Baltimore. Boston 150-9. Bassett against Tolley. Tolley choked last time. Bassett, he's not very good. Chris Bassett from Toledo. Let's see. The most he's usually 5-6 innings. Give up a run, 3 runs, 4 runs, 1 run, 4 runs, 1 run, 5 runs. So he gave up 1 run last time. So this should be, he should give up a lot. He gave up 3 runs to the Tigers, who can't hit. Okay. So he's had a few bad outings, 5 runs, 4, 4, 3. So you don't know what you're getting with Bassett. Tolley, it was terrible last game against Atlanta. They lost 10-2. So we bet that under because I think it was against Chris Sale. And I go, oh, Tolley's good. And he wasn't. He gave up 10. 4 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs. He did strike out 7. But he gives up 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs. So he's good for at least 2 runs a game. So we're not 2.63 ERA. I don't know about that. I think it's a little higher. And Bassett, I don't know. I'm gonna leave this alone. Cleveland against the Yankees. Good matchup here. Grant Williams, 3.08 for Cleveland, and Gary Cole back for the Yankees. It says 0 ERA, but I got to check that out. Yankees are 145-7. Let's see what Garrett Cole really is. Let's see. He's pitched 2 games, and he has not given up a run. 6 innings, 2 hits, 6 innings, 4 hits. They won 7-0 against KC, and they lost 4-2 to Tampa. Okay, so he hasn't given up a run. He didn't pitch in 05, and 04 was a 3.41. He was a 2.63, a 3. So yeah, this Cole we know is the genuine article. Grant Williams for Cleveland, or Gavin Williams, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's won his last 3. Too bad he's facing Cole. 1 run, 0-2, and then he had a couple of bad 5-5s, a 1, a 6. So he went 6-1, 5-5, and his last 3 are 2-0-1. And those are the wins. So what did he do against Minnesota? 6 innings, 10 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 101 pitches in 6 innings. Why are the managers leaving him out there, right? He gives up 10, he gives up 5 runs. We need innings. Yeah, but you just lost the game because you left this guy out there. So I'm going to play it, but you won't know what it is until you buy. Actually, no, I'm going to do this. All right, KC, Cincinnati. Burns was supposed to go 2 days ago, and he didn't. Now he's supposed to go today. KC at Cincinnati. Cincinnati 153-8. Kolek for Kansas City. Kolek pitches 5 games. He's 3 and the team's 3-2 with him. Not he's 3-2, but the team is. 5 innings. He pitched a 9-hit shutout. Oh my God, the guy pitched 9 innings, 108 pitches. How about that? He pitched 3 times to the lineup and basically gave up 4 hits and didn't give up a run. Maybe there doesn't need to be a pitch count. He gave up 3 runs, 5 runs, 2 shutouts, and then he gave up 6 runs to Texas. So we're talking inconsistency from this Kolek guy. He beat Seattle 5-0 in the Cardinals. The Cardinals can't hit. I'm going to play the Cardinals under if they're playing today. They might not be, but if they are. Not a lot of strikeouts. but he pitches into the 80s at least. You're going to get a full steam. Okay. And who the fuck are they playing? Oh, Cincinnati and Burns. Is Burns playing? This is only a bet if Burns is playing. Burns, the 26th. So it's been a week. So they gave him a few days off. He's won 4 in a row. And he has a legit, holy fuck. Okay, he gave up 5 runs on April 10th. Since then, it's been 0-2-2, 0-1, 0-1-2. And he's won his last 4. So let's hope he plays tonight. So if he plays, then there you know what to do. If he doesn't play, so check in about this game's on at 7:10, maybe at 6 o'clock. Burns is playing. Yeah, okay. And then that would be your bet. Okay. Toronto goes to Atlanta, and Atlanta minus 137.8. Corbin 367 for Toronto. Grant Holmes 395 for Atlanta. So again, total of 8. Seems like it's an over, but let's see what these guys are up to. Corbin's won his last 2 after 3 losses, 3 wins, 3 losses, 2 wins. 4 and 5 innings is all this guy gives you. Gives up 1 run, 3-3, 2-2-2. So he does give up runs. He pitches. God, he's pitched 4 innings. He gave 86 pitches. It's this guy. He doesn't walk a lot, but gives up a good foul ball, I guess. 4 innings. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at hits. In 4 innings, he pitched 79 pitches and 86. 5 innings, he pitched 80 pitches and gave up 4 hits and 1 run. That was against Baltimore. So, Corbin, you're going to get 5 innings out of him. A lot of foul balls, I guess, for Toronto. Atlanta, Grant Holmes, 3.95 ERA. Let's see. Well, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lost to Washington, beat Cincinnati. So he's 6-1 his last 7. Which team is this? Grant Holmes, Atlanta. Okay. Like what team am I looking at? Okay. Last 5, he gave up 6 runs and 2-0-2-3. So he gives up a few runs. He's only had 2 shutouts, 6 innings, 1 hitter the first game, and then 6 runs, 5 hits, nothing that. And he gets into the 80s. He did pitch a 99er, and that was it. So he's in the 80s. He's going to give you some runs. So he's hittable. And that's why he's got a 3.95 ERA. Toronto with Corbin. Atlanta can hit. I'm thinking about this. 49ers and the Packers. That was our big lock yesterday, was the Packers, and they won. Steve Young threw 3 picks. Typical Steve Young game. Here we got Milwaukee minus 143.8. Logan Webb for the Niners, 4.85 ERA. And he's lost his last 4. But he doesn't. Well, he's lost 6 out of his last 7. 4 innings and a couple 7s and a couple 6s. In the last 4, he gave up 1 run, 6 runs, 1 run, 3 runs, and then there was a couple of 4s. So he does give up some runs. He hasn't had a shutout. And this is what the 49er pitcher, 4.85 ERA. The problem is we don't know Milwaukee's pitcher. Somehow they're a 143, but what am I going to do with it? Total of 8. I can't make the bet until I know who's pitching. And, my ace just pitched yesterday, so I don't know what this is. we need more information. Maybe it's a bullpen day, and I don't know what to do with the bullpen day because they can't chart the pitcher. He's only going to go 1 or 2 innings. So we'll have to take a pass on that one. Texas is St. Louis. Palentine for St. Louis, 4.19 ERA. Gore, 3.98. This game is in St. Louis. St. Louis is 112-8. Gore with a 4 ERA against Palentine with a 4 ERA. St. Louis can't hit. They're pathetic. I watched 2 of the Cub games on the weekend, and it's like you're waiting for St. Louis to get a hit. Mackenzie Gore. Oh, Mackenzie Gore, he stinks. Had a 4-hit shutout for 6 innings last game. Gave up 1 run, 2-1. So he's pitching much better. He started 2.5, 3.35, and his last 4 have been 1.2, 1.0. So he's figuring it out. So his ERA is fall. The 3.98 is much lower the last 4 games, which is what we like to look at. Palentine. This the guy from Star Wars, Andre Palentine. Where's strikes thrown? Where's game logs? Okay, he's won his last 2. See, that's the part. Most of them win their last 2 or 3. They win, they lose their last 2, but we're not getting that. We have isolated Freeland and Rope and Chandler and Cameron and now Webb. But we'll have to look at when they pitch next. Webb we just saw. All right, so we've got, and again, who the fuck is this? The Cardinals, Palentine, and game logs. Okay. 8 hits. He pitched 3 innings, gave up 8 hits and 4 runs in 3 innings. Is this against the Cubbies? Yeah. They won 6-5. 6 innings, gave up 2 hits and 1 run. 6 innings, gave up 8 hits and 2 runs. 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, 5 runs, 1 and 3. So he does give up 5-3, 2-1, 4. So that's a straight, but he's not going to get you. He goes 5 or 6 innings. 3 innings, he pitched 75 pitches. He pitched 99 and 6 2/3. He pitched 104 and 6. So this guy, don't know. St. Louis does not hit. Texas, it's hard to go under 8 with a 4.19 and a 3.98 in St. Louis. I'm going to watch. I'm going to circle it, but I'm not going to bet it. So St. Louis under 8. But no bet. I just want to keep track of it. If I write it down, I keep track of it. And I see how did I do, even though it's not a bet. There's certain games you just want to see how the teams are doing for later bets as we get, on during the week. Oakland goes to the Cubbies. Not a big travel for them. We got the Cubs minus 124 and 8.5. We got Springs 409 against Ray 479. This game was very low under yesterday with 2 good pitchers. So I don't know if there was wind or not. It should have definitely got to 10. Here it's 8.5. Is it really that windy that they can't hit the ball in Chicago? I don't know. I know in football you get the wins. Springs for Oakland, a 4.09 ERA. Jeffrey from North Carolina. We got a new one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Springs. I got to make a whole sheet for pitchers now. Springs is on Oakland. Yeah, Oakland lost 5. Oh, wait, we got to still look at. He's got a 4.09 ERA. He's lost 7 out of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. He goes 5 innings, little 6, and he basically gives up 5 runs, 4 runs, 2, 4, 2. So he does give up a lot of runs. Now the question is how good is Charlie Ray for the Bears? 4.79. He is up 2 runs, 3, 4, 5, 2. Okay, so I know what to do with this game. Okay. The Steelers play the Oilers. 79 championship. Joe Green against Earl Campbell. And we got oh my God. Okay. What a great game this is. We got Pittsburgh minus 149 and 8. So who do you think's pitching for Pittsburgh? Yes. Paul Scanes, 2.91 ERA against Eric Getty, 1.34 ERA. Enough said there. So you know what to do with that. I've trained you well, my students. Colorado plays California. Your free play is Philadelphia, but we're this close to free playing Pittsburgh too. Colorado at California. We did not play this. I think it went over. California 145 and 8.5. Lorenzen 739 for Colorado. Oh, this is somebody else. Colorado's got Freeland who sucks, and they got Lorenzen who sucks. Against Urena for California. Michael Lorenzen, Colorado. He had lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had lost 5 in a row and then beat the Niners. He gives up 3 runs, 5, 7, 2, 7, 4, 3, 7. Basically a pig. That's why he's got a 7 ERA. So you really don't need to look at it. You see a 7.39. We know Lorenzen. We've heard of him enough that we know he's a regular pitcher. Urena for California. Walbert Urena from the Dominican Republic. I like when they get the guy from Venezuela who's probably been working on an oil tanker, throwing oil around, and let's make him a pitcher. 6 hits, 1 run, 5 hits, 1 run, 6 hits, 0, 5 hits, 2, 1, 1. Yeah, this guy can pitch. His last 6 was 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 1. So Colorado's not scoring here. So, yeah, okay. We got that. The Dodgers against Arizona. Shohei Ohtani against Zach Gallen. The Dodgers are only minus 183 with Shohei. And the total of 9. Shohei 0.82. We know him. Zach Gallen 5.19. This is child's play. And we'll go that. So, and that's it. They're not all playing. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 plays. Your free play, Philadelphia, and we're going to lock it. We have one other lock going. So we got 2 locks going today. You got one, Philadelphia. And I accidentally gave you, I think it was, I don't remember which one it was. One of the first ones. You'll have to look at it. An accidental free pick. So why is it about the pitcher? And I hate when I do that. Why the pitcher? Because it's just like the defense. A good pitcher will get you out. Right. A good pitcher controls the game. Koufax, Gibson, Carlton, Nolan Ryan, Jack Morris, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. they can strike you out. A good pitcher will destroy a good hitter 100% of the time. That's the bottom line. And that's what you've got to be. That's why you look at the pitch. You look at Scanes going, oh, they're not going to hit him. The only problem with Scanes today is pitch count. That's why he lost last time. Was they got him on pitch. He had like 4 2/3 inning. He gave up 100 pitches in 4 innings. I mean, what can you do with that? Got so many emails. So I got to email my buyers. Today is 6/3. I was doing this earlier, but I get the better feel when I'm doing it live with you guys, and I look at the pictures and I look at the team and I get a better feel for the team. So that's what I prefer. So give me 2 minutes to put this in. Only because the game started at like 1:30 or 1 o'clock and it's already 12:15. One second. All right. Sorry about that. So I played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Your free pick is Philadelphia, 4-unit. Bet the shit out of that one. You know, it's a perfect. You got the ace going against Ferris Bueller. I mean, it's crazy. So that's baseball, basketball. We're gonna watch. I don't know over or under, and I really, the best player is Winnebago. Game 1, they're coming off of a emotional Game 7 with Oklahoma, and they just lost. And the Knicks have been off for a week, which should make no difference. There's no such thing as rust. You're shooting a ball through a hole. Give me a break, Rust. And you, I'm sure, have scrimmages against your other team. So there's no such thing as rust. That's bullshit. That's what the Pistons use as an excuse. It's an excuse. Oh, we were rusty. Well, why were you rusty? Does your coach have his head up his ass? You can't scrimmage. You can't bring in the Lakers and play. So we're going to watch that. Baseball, free pick, take Philly. They just got to win. 4-unit lock. And NFL. We have talked week 1 before. And I don't know where my folder is. So we're not really going to get into that. We did talk Myles Garrett yesterday. It's my week 1. I don't know. I must have my football over on my coffee table. One thing we haven't checked is streaks. I'm noticing a lot of them are busting, so I want to let's not do streaks right now, but I have noticed some of the Cubs have went on 3 10-game streaks. So let's see. I think there was only one streak. I think I looked at it when I was waking up. First thing I do, well, who's on the streak? See, it's a bunch of now. Okay, Seattle's on an 8-game winning streak. I know the White Sox lost with Dean Martin. Seattle's on an 8-game. Texas is on a 5-game. And that nobody's on a bad losing streak. The Tigers were, but they started turning it around when they added a few players. Pittsburgh's on a 4-game win streak. And that's it. There's no losing streaks. So it's basically, Minnesota won, Miami. So it's Seattle, and really it's Seattle would be it. Did we play Seattle today? Are they even playing today? Let's see. That's the thing. They might. Seattle. Yeah, they are playing the JETSs. They're favored 146. Let's look at this game. So let's look at Seattle and the JETSs. That's the only streak really you can play. We got Peralta 355 going against General Kirby from Total Recall, or no, from Commando with the 377. So this is a pretty even game. So you could play Seattle on the streak, but it's kind of a wash. Although they're on like a 7-game win streak. Pitchers, Paddock on St. Louis, 5-game losing streak. Cameron on KC, Chandler on Pitt, Rogue on 49ers. Freeland did win in the 10th inning, but he's on a 7-game losing streak. Spring for Oakland and Webb for the Niners. So the Niners got 2 guys on losing streaks. I guess that tells you something about the Niners. Now, the problem with teams like the Tigers, they're all injured. So the pitchers don't pitch much because they're always, injured. So that pitch count really works well, having a pitch count, because on 5 days rest, see, nobody gets hurt that way. Oh, my God. All right. So we'll have to catalog these bad pitchers. These are our Z pitchers. And we know the A pitchers, Scanes, Sale. This guy for Philadelphia today, Sanchez. These are the A pitchers. Right. So that's what we're looking for. Instead of the team, is Philly an A team? I don't know, but their pitcher's an A pitcher. And Ferris Bueller's a Z pitcher. So it's the perfect storm today. Philly will hit the shit out of Bueller, and San Diego will be lucky to get 5 hits against Sanchez. And that's it. So we're still staying away from Miami. Let's see. There was one game I was waiting for the pitcher. Let's see if we've got it. Yeah, Milwaukee. Pitcher to be determined. Obviously a bullpen day, I guess. Webb's on a 4-game losing streak. So I would bet Milwaukee if I had a pitcher. But we don't. All right. Let's see if there's any football news. So we saw a lot of trades yesterday. Obviously, the biggest one was whatchamacallit, Myles Garrett, A.J. Brown going to New England. We're not quite sure how that's going to work. Honeymoon begins as A.J. Brown practices with the Patriots. Okay. So he was on Tennessee, then goes to Philly. Doesn't really do anything on Tennessee. Doesn't really do anything on Philly. Yeah, Jalen Hurts. Ty Simpson helped the Rams trade for Myles Garrett. Okay. What to expect from NFL second-year quarterbacks? They still suck, the ones that suck. First Bears player ever gets Madden cover curses. Okay. Cardinals reportedly won't be trading Josh Sweat. He's pretty good. He was like from old Mississippi or something. Jim Schwartz is moving on from Browns. A forced marriage isn't going to work in the NFL. So he didn't want to be there. It's funny, he was defensive coordinator with the Lions. They made him head coach, and then he's never been a head coach again. He's always been a defensive coordinator because he was a little weird. He was the guy that started to fight Jim Harbaugh when the Niners won. He went over to shake his hand, and he freaked out. So I don't know. Good defensive coach, not a good head coach. Sean McVay says he spoke with Aaron Donald about bringing Myles Garrett to the Rams. Why would you? Is Aaron Donald coming back? This would be if he comes back with Myles Garrett, look out. Drake London agrees to $141 million contract extension with the Falcons, wide receiver, but you need a quarterback. Josh Jacobs returns to practice amid ongoing legal investigations. Football players, they could murder, it doesn't matter. Ray Lewis killed somebody. No, not a problem. Come on. Falcons make Drake London the league's highest paid. He's not that good, Drake London. Could Aaron Donald come out of retirement? Rams trade for Myles Garrett. You bet your ass he could. Because he can smell a Super Bowl. Wow, we got Myles Garrett. Put me on the defensive line and the other guy they have. Add McDuffie, a quarterback. Pukanuka and Stafford. A decent running. Yeah, they'd be all that because they'd have the number one defense, the number one offense, and teams like that don't generally lose. So he's saying he could come out. Andrew Berry explains why Browns traded Myles Garrett. We don't need to get an explanation. Too much of this. Eagles called Panthers about trading up to number 19, and who gives a fuck? Should Caleb fear the Madden curse? No, Caleb sucks. Doesn't really matter. It's his own curse. Packers wide receiver Matthew Golden, I wouldn't change anything about. I don't care. Chiefs ranked 9th in ESPN's Football Power Index. They're the best team. So I don't know why. It's them and Denver 1-2. So who do we got? Who do we got in the top 9? Should we laugh at this? I mean, what kind of joke? Who are the idiots doing this? You got Mahomes and you've added Walker. Yeah, they're the best team. They have a good defense. 3 AFC teams are ranked ahead of the Chiefs: San Diego, Baltimore, and Buffalo. No, and no. It's notable that Denver ranked 15th. So Denver, the best team in the league, is 15th, and San Diego, for some reason, is up there. And Baltimore and Buffalo, I don't know why they're there. Baltimore has nothing. Buffalo at least has Josh Allen. This Kansas City, this is a joke. Among the top 10 most likely Super Bowl matchups, the Chiefs appear in just one against the Rams. Yeah, we know there was a trade. They keep telling you there was a trade. 60 Super Bowl odds of the Rams are clear favorite. Duh, really? What a great article that is. All right, so there's not much here. No, the Chiefs and Denver are the top 2 teams in the AFC, and the Rams and the Eagles are the top 2 in the AFC. Maybe, I don't think the Bears with Caleb, maybe the Vikings with Kyler Murray, with Jefferson. Cincinnati's also should be higher. Anytime you got Joe Burrow and Chase, and apparently you've brought in some good defensive help. Problem is your coach still sucks. And that's it. Let's see what's going on YouTube. Anything like that I did. See, I hate this. The guy says U.S. economy just collapsed, but he doesn't talk about it. Well, don't have the video on. I'm saying I'm giving baseball picks. I give baseball picks. I don't say I'm giving baseball picks and don't give baseball picks. As we talk a lot about the markets, what is a market? It's what a buyer and a seller are. That's why capitalism works. The buyer and the seller, you have to sell it for what somebody will buy it for. And that a lot depends on the demand for the product. That's why we talk demand a lot, and that's why we talk supply a lot. So to have a market in gold, we know it's undervalued. We know it's worth a lot more because people will pay more because you have to get out of dollars. but people don't realize they have to get out of dollars yet. So we're 3 steps ahead of the game. We know you have to get out of dollars because we know they're worthless because you printed too much of them. So then the market is, well, what can you sell it for and what will they pay for it? And at this point, 4,500 is a joke. I mean, it's worth 10 times that. The value of gold is much higher because of 200,000 tons of physical versus 4,000,003 tons of paper. So they're disguising the supply. There's a lot more out there, and they're dumping these options, and shorting is not realistic. It's not the market. So that's why we look at it. You go more towards the car market. Okay, Toyota, they want to sell the car. And where's their market? What will people pay for a Camry? Right? That's the real market. It's physical. There's no options. That's why we bitch and scream about gold, because if it was just like a Toyota, I have this ounce of bar, or I have this bar, I have an ounce of gold or a bar of gold. What will you give it to me? Let's see. The dollar's going out, the Titanic sinking. I'll give you 10 grand for it. If you just let the market determine. That's why I hate this COMEX, because it's not giving you a real value of the gold. It's much, much higher, and the silver. They're much, much higher than what it's telling you. That's what I'm bitching at. The same thing with oil. I showed you 82 today, $82 a barrel. In what world is it $82 a barrel? Because it's not. They're selling it for $150, $200 a barrel in Asia, because there is no physical, and you need it for the jet fuel. You need diesel. You need regular oil. So you need it. You have to have it to drive your cars and trucks and planes. And obviously, there's a very low supply, which goes into demand. If you can't get it and you need it, the price goes up. Well, I need gold, but I can't get it, so I will pay more for it because I got to have gold and silver. Now, there's different uses of silver. Obviously, the military wants it low so they can buy it to make more weapons. And maybe that's what's happening, but China wants it and everybody wants it, partly for industrial use and partly because it's money. Gold is strictly money. And so that creates demand. Why is there demand for gold? Because the dollar is worthless, as the euro, as the pound, as the Swiss franc, as every fucking currency that's not backed by gold in the world are all worthless. So you must have gold, because otherwise, if you hold these other currencies, they're worthless. Why are they worthless? Because they keep printing them. Why do they keep printing? You got Social Security very high in every country. All these baby boomers. When World War II ended, everybody had kids. Now the kids are, 60, 70 years old, and they're retired, and they want their pensions. And you have to print it because you're too stupid to keep their money and let them keep their own pensions. And then you've got the interest on the debt, and they all have debts. And then you have the defense contractors, and then you have the government employees, and every government's way too large. You're living in a socialist world where the governments are too low. I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you Luke Groman. Let's go to Luke Groman. We'll do a quick Egon because we like Egon.
Beg people, do something about it today. Don't hang on to the stock market. Stock market might go up a little more because it always finishes obviously on a high before it turns. So it might go up a little more. Don't worry about it, because you might have another 5 to 10% up or nothing. But the risk on the downside is 95% fall against gold and silver. That risk is not worth taking. Today you should switch, and you should switch to physical. That is wealth preservation. And that people who don't do it are going to be very, very sorry in coming years, because all the paper assets that they have, all the paper wealth that they think they have measured in paper money that's going down by the day, all of that will just disappear like just a puff of smoke. But you have the opportunity now to swap. I wish that more people, of course, mainly people are interested in real asset, gold and silver, are listening to this, but I wish other people would listen, because that would save them dramatically from an absolute financial disaster in coming years.
So that's our boy Egon. But that's That's what it is. So again, the market is buyers and sellers. That's what a market is. I'm selling tomatoes. Somebody want them. Yeah, they do. Now we got to figure out a price. Well, that's based on supply. If I have a lot of tomatoes, I sell them cheaper because I got so many to sell. If there's a drought on tomatoes, sort of like what's going on with dark chocolate now, the cocoa, there's a drought on the cocoa, I guess. So they charge, because of that, they charge more for the dark chocolate bars than they should, because the supply of cocoa is down. So therefore, we don't have enough cocoa to meet demand. So they raise price. But the problem is, we're all saying, fuck you, I'm not paying $6 for a dark chocolate bar. I mean, it's not worth it. You know, it's a $2 or $3 bar, not $6. And so that's what you have, because your costs go up and you can't afford it. So that's what we hear. Let's see. Okay, Luke Groman, $20,000 gold. Gold has been weaponized, Luke Groman. So we're gonna rip Luke Gorman a new asshole here.
You know, two proxy wars.
So he doesn't really know. He's very difficult to understand what the fuck he's talking about. So this will be about a 10-minute thing, and I'm going to stop it to rip. All right, ready, Russell?
You can see very clearly collapses in bond volatility and equity volatility in in late March and into early April at times that should not have occurred, given what was going on with the Iran war, etc. The jawboning, everything. So I don't really understand why it is still where it is, and maybe it's just about to break out, and that would be a big problem for everyone involved. And would only accelerate. You have high oil; it's a big enough incentive to sell dollar assets. You put a strong dollar on top of strong oil, you're going to get big time global selling of dollar assets because
Hey, what the fuck's he talking about? A strong dollar? The dollar's gone. It's worthless. This is the key that he misses totally. He doesn't talk about the dollar being worthless, because Keynesians don't understand that. So he totally misses the point. A strong dollar with strong oil. He's a Keynesian. So everybody, look, well, because he's bald and he talks in strange words that he's smart. He's not smart. So this is the first problem. He never gets to the point that the dollar's worthless. What he talks is, well, if we have a strong dollar and we have strong oil, it doesn't beat anything. Idiot.
have borrowed $13, $14 trillion in dollar-denominated debt. They've got to defend their currencies.
Another rule that has been broken is the gold and U.S. dollar correlation, because gold has gone up, the dollar, as we just discussed, flat. Why is that a correlation? Why have we moved away from that correlation, Luke? And how should we interpret that moving forward as well? What should we be paying attention to here?
I think there's an argument to be made that the gold going up was used by the U.S. government to manage dollar strength. I think Besant absolutely understands the net international investment position dynamic I laid out earlier. Too strong a dollar will cause global economic pain and U.S. economic pain. The challenge in that is, as we saw in 2024, too weak a dollar. Summer 2024, we saw the yen start to strengthen, and that started to blow up the yen carry trade globally, which was also bad for everything. So really, since summer of 24, to me, it's been very obvious: too weak a dollar creates a crisis, too strong a dollar creates a crisis. So if you need a weaker dollar for sort of everything Besant and Trump are trying to do, how do you get it without creating a crisis? Well, one way you could do it is you keep it in a very tight range by letting the price of gold strengthen significantly, because all else equal, generally speaking, a stronger gold is bad for the dollar, to your point. But
what is he talking about? Okay, I will take my master's brain and go, what the fuck's he talking about? There is no such thing as a stronger dollar. The dollar's worthless. How can it be fucking stronger? You printed it to death. That goes right over his head. Gold and the dollar are not correlated at all. The dollar's worthless. Gold's at. The U.S. did not let gold run up. It was China who bought it in a supply-demand situation. They've been buying the shit out of COMEX, and COMEX is basically gone because they don't have any gold. As Mark McGuire says, it's the dog, it's the tail leading the dog. Now the dog's leading the tail. You can't strengthen and weaken the dollar when the dollar's worthless. Oops, that goes right over his head. Not only that, he doesn't even understand it. He can't even explain it or talk about it. The dollar is printed to zero. It has no value. What are you talking about strengthening and weakening? That's Keynesian talk. That's, well, if we make our prices cheaper, well, make your prices cheaper, but every dollar is worthless. You know who's winning? BRICS, because they have the gold-backed currency, and that makes their dollar the strongest. So you cannot make your dollar stronger or weaker versus the yuan. The yuan is the strongest dollar because it has a gold backing, as does the ruble, as does all the BRICS countries that are using gold for that. They are the winners. He doesn't even mention it. He goes, well, we need a stronger dollar and a weaker dollar. Do I ever say stronger or weaker dollar? No, because that's not true. The dollar is gone. It has no value. You printed it to death. Goes right over this guy's head. Oh, Luke Roman, he's great. Fucking guy that is clueless. All right, what other idiots?
If you've got stronger or higher gold while you're doing things that would also normally strengthen the dollar, maybe you can net that out. And it's very hard to prove that. It's very hard to look at the exact dynamics. But you know, I think there's some element of that going on, that gold is essentially being used as a reference point or as the pivot point, particularly as it relates between the dollar and the yuan. Now the Dixie, the yuan's not the Dixie, but the Chinese yuan has been remarkably strong against the dollar, given everything that's gone on. I mean, remember, China was supposed to be the most hurt by all this, and yet yuan's strengthened pretty notably against the dollar since this Iran war started. Because
they're backed by gold now, moron. He doesn't get that the yuan is backed by gold, or BRICS, doesn't mention BRICS, but they all have gold standards now. China's got 80,000 tons. That's why the yuan is stronger. Goes right over his head. But the whole BRICS is using gold now to trade with Saudi Arabia for oil, for gold. Pretty simple. But he doesn't understand it. He can't explain what he's talking about. I can't follow the guy. It's all, well, maybe this and maybe a strong dollar and a weak dollar. There's no such thing as a strong dollar. It's worthless. How can it get stronger? What do you mean the dollar's worthless? Yeah, Luke, it's printed to death. You cannot just keep printing it. And this is the problem. Idiots like this and Scott Simpson and everybody in government do not understand this because they're all Keynesians. So they're trying to manipulate the dollar. Oh, well, if gold gets too strong, the dollar weakens. No, it's got nothing to do with that. Gold's over here. The dollar's over here. If gold goes up to 10,000 over here, the dollar doesn't go down because gold's higher. The dollar goes down because you keep printing it. Gold goes up because you keep printing the dollar, and the demand for the gold goes up. It's not correlated. There's no correlation between strong gold and a weak dollar, or weak gold and a strong dollar. There is no correlation. Gold is gold. There is no correlation between Mickey Mantle going up and Willie Mays going up. They're two different players with two different demands, two different supplies, and they are not related. Or Bobby Orr and Bobby Hall, or Tom Brady and Joe Montana. There's no correlation. They're independent products. The dollar you keep printing is going down. Well, it's going down, and gold is going up because you can't print it. And the demand goes in. So there's more demand for this than this. This is based on demand. If people want the treasuries, that's fine. What is he talking about? He's like Michael Saylor. They're both fucking idiots because they don't know what they're talking about, but because they look guy looks like he's from space. The people think he's smart. At what point is he smart in this? All right, more.
So is gold being used as a financial weapon, perhaps at this point? And the $4,500 gold, or even $5,500 gold, 5,600 was the peak here. Is that a financial weapon? Then has it been weaponized?
I think it's been weaponized for 15 years. I think it's ultimately China and Russia going, and forget that. It's been weaponized for 50 years. You can go back, and this isn't even speculative. You can go back into the archives, declassified documents of U.S. embassies talking about in London, talking about the need to roll out gold futures to make them so volatile that Americans will stop holding physical gold. And that was in 1973, 74. You can see Chinese, U.S. cables from Beijing, from declassified, talking about how the Chinese were stockpiling gold as a way to kill two birds with one stone. That the Americans and the Europeans had always manipulated gold to make the dollar and the euro look better than they were. China's words, not mine, and not even China's words. The U.S. embassy in China's words, not mine. And the Chinese did what I think is the smart thing, which is, okay, you're going to artificially lean on gold and to make your currency look better. Fine, we'll take the gold. And so, gold's been weaponized. Gold is a political metal. People want to treat it like a commodity. It is not. It's a political metal.
It's not a commodity. I wonder, does he know what a commodity is? How is gold not a commodity? How is silver not a commodity? How is iron not a commodity? It is a commodity. A political weapon? What's he talking about? China's got 80,000 tons because JP Morgan's been keeping the price down and everybody's buying it, but we don't really know what the real price is. It's not 4,500. It's probably 45,000 because they keep manipulating it down. How is it a political weapon? The fuck's he talking about? What is a political weapon? I have no idea. So yeah, China's been buying it. He doesn't talk that they're on the gold standard now. He doesn't even mention BRICS. Have they been manipulated? Well, the idea has been the bullion banks keeping the price down so people go into the stock market. I've mentioned that, and the bond market or whatever, the paper, they want you in paper, not in physical. So they keep the price down. So you're like, I don't know. But he hasn't mentioned money printing, and he hasn't mentioned that gold's very undervalued. And it's not China, but BRICS buying it. China's got 80,000 tons, and total BRICS is probably 160, 170,000 tons of the 220 is already gone. What does he mean it's not a commodity? What the fuck is it then? It's not a commodity. This guy's the biggest idiot I've ever seen. Gold's not a commodity. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to write this down, commodity, and we're going to go check what a commodity is. All right.
Alternative currency. It's an alternative reserve currency, which we can say because it is now the biggest reserve currency in a lot of countries' reserves. It's surpassed treasury bonds and global FX reserves. So has it been weaponized? Yes. I think it's continued to be weaponized. And I think it's both a weapon and it's also both a defense metric. China is screwed unless they get the ability to buy oil and commodities in their own currency. And China's known this for 15 years, at least. And so how do you do that if you want to maintain a closed capital account? Well, simple. You open your capital account on a limited basis through gold. You set up offshore yuan clearing banks in London, Gold Hub, Switzerland, Gold Hub, Singapore, Gold Hub, Dubai, Gold Hub, Shanghai, Gold Hub, Hong Kong, Gold Hub. And you make your currency convertible for gold in those places. To the extent anyone runs a surplus against you. If you run a deficit, they tend to run deficits from time to time against oil producers, commodity producers. And that's how you do that. Now, nobody wants the yuan, but all those countries, all those commodity exporters will take gold. And China's let gold float in its currency. In yuan terms, the yuan has collapsed against gold. It's gone from 7,000 to 31,000.
This guy's like, what the fuck's he saying? First of all, gold is, they are having a gold back yuan, which is why it's stronger, backed by gold now, as all the BRICS countries are backed by gold. And they've set up these gold exchanges because they're going to trade in gold. That's what he just totally over his head. Yeah, Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, St. Petersburg, he didn't mention. And it's because they're going to do trading in gold. And so here's the trade. I need oil. I'm going to give you yuan and you can convert it to gold. It's all convertible. Is the yuan broke? All the currencies are broke, chucklehead, except for the ones that are backed by gold. So the yuan is not weak if it's backed by gold. It's weak if it's not. But so he understands that, but he doesn't understand the dollar has no value and the British pound has no value and the euro. None of these dollars have value. So how he talks stronger and weaker makes zero sense. He doesn't understand gold's a commodity, but then he talks about gold being a commodity. What a fucking idiot this guy is.
Since China opened the Shanghai Gold Exchange International Board in September of 2014. And then the last thing you got to do is you got to find some oil exporters who want to sell oil in yuan and really sell it for gold. And they found that in Russia. They found that in Iran. They found that in Venezuela. Now, spontaneously, what a coincidence. Where do we have the three, two proxy wars and, one direct war, one proxy war, and one, grabbing of the government. But here too,
surprise.
Yes, surprise, exactly. So, yeah, gold has absolutely a role in all of these things. It's a defense mechanism for the Chinese. It's a weaponization for the China. It is a weaponization for the U.S. And historically, it was a weaponization for the U.S. as they wanted it weaker. But now the U.S.
How does the U.S. doesn't have any? How is it a weapon for the U.S.? What is he talking about? We're going to look up what weaponization means and what commodity. These are foreign terms to Austrian economics. These are Keynesian terms.
Wants to reshore, it needs a weaker dollar. It absolutely does. But because we're so financialized, we can't have a weak dollar against yen. And we sure as heck are, we sit down with the Chinese and say, hey, we want you to strengthen the yuan. The Chinese they saw what happened to what we did to the Japanese. There is zero chance the Chinese are going to sit down to another Plaza Accord and go, oh yeah, we'll strengthen our yuan against the dollar and put ourselves into 30 years of, there's no chance. What the Chinese are almost assuredly saying is, fine, you want a weaker dollar? Let gold go in dollar terms. You guys have been leaning on gold the whole time, buying it up. We know, we've been buying it up. Let it go. We're using gold. We let the yuan, like, look, if the yuan is, if yuan gold's 30,000, let's say it goes to 50,000 for easy math over the next 5 years. And you want a stronger dollar or a weaker dollar against the yuan? Great. We're going to send gold to 50,000 yuan from 30,000 over the next 5 years. You're going to let gold go to 10,000 and get through the gold link, 50,000 yuan, $10,000. That's 5 on the yuan dollar cross rate. That's a meaningful strengthening in the yuan, but it's a compensated revaluation higher than Chinese. That they would be down for. This whole you're going to take it to 5 and screw you like we did to the Japanese, like that ain't going to happen. So I think that's where this is ultimately going. I think it's really good for gold. And look, you can play that math all day. Take it to 12,500. That's 4. If the yuan gold's 50,000, you want to take it to 25,000. That's 2. Great. That's a meaningful weakening of the dollar against the yuan through the gold link, and that's a compensated devaluation. I think that's what's happening.
So you're saying gold is going much, much higher?
I think it has to. Ultimately, I think it has to. In the short run, look, everything we're talking about where forced selling of treasuries, there has been some forced disordering of gold from places like Turkey. The Indians are clearly having a problem with their balance of payments. And so, their Modi came out 2-3 weeks ago and said, please stop buying gold, which, oh, by the way, I think it was Indira Gandhi did it back in 1967. And when she said, please stop buying gold, it was like, you should be buying all the gold you can get your hands on because they're in trouble. They have a supply issue. So, gold to me is a tale of two stories. It's, in the very short run, it's going to be, you still got a lot of traders thinking, oh, rates are going up. Real rates are going up. I don't want to own gold. And I think wise people that are beyond very short-term focus. I'm not saying traders aren't wise; they're just not paid to be wise. They're paid to trade. If you're a wise person with a longer-term focus, you look and go, there isn't a Western country on the planet, and really China can't either, that can afford higher rates. There is nothing more bullish for gold in the long run than rising real rates on an insolvent sovereign, because they are either going to go insolvent, which is bullish for gold, or way more likely, they're going to print money to cap yields, which is really bullish gold.
Which they're already doing, right? So I think we can agree on that. Like, especially in the U.S., $600 billion in QE that nobody talks about in various forms.
Yeah, the reserve management purchases. Yeah,
for example, right? So we can spend hours and hours going on here. Luke, it's been fantastic having you on. I got one last question because.
Oh yeah, he's a genius. Let's just listen to this one part. Can stable coins save treasuries?
Patricia Heaton. This is how to tell if your olive oil is fake.
Did you hear of the TikTok olive oil test? Well, it's really easy, so just watch me. This is real olive oil.
And we can't. I mean, in the very short run, you can, but in the end, you're gonna have to make the choice: dollar or the bond market. And oh, by the way, if you choose, who cares if rates go up? We don't have that option anymore. We care immensely. It will bankrupt the country. We are a 65% consumer society. We can't afford to empty our stock market into our oil markets. We just can't. So there's still this view we can have sort of, the dollar as reserve currency. We can have stock markets go up, and we can reshore, and we can have oil go up. And we can't. I mean, in the very short run, you can, but in the end, you're gonna have to make the choice: dollar or the bond market. And oh, by the way, if you choose to save the dollar by letting yields go to wherever they go, you're going to destroy the dollar anyway, because at 7% interest, we can't afford the interest on our debt. Maybe it's 8% interest, but we can't afford the interest on our debt. And that is a technical definition of hyperinflation, and that ain't good for a currency.
Yeah. So it's a choice between pest or cholera. Both will kill you. Just choose it, right? No, it's interesting. And one last question. I could talk with you for hours, but we're getting off topic just a little bit. I'm just curious about the role of stable coins. They're being hailed as the savior, and you've been talking about demand destruction. But do stable coins perhaps build a cushion for the demand to fall upon, and maybe put in a floor? Is that a fair assumption there?
I'm skeptical. And again, I'm skeptical because of the flows. One of the things I've heard repeatedly is, hey, the world wants to hold stable coins on their phone, and then that to get out of their currency into the dollar and hold stable coins. And those stable coins will be backed by T-bills, and we can take care of the deficit that way. Okay. But we just talked about foreigners are selling treasuries at the fastest pace in 4 years because they need oil. And so, again, underpinning this whole thing is, if you're going to have stable coins, if you're going to have foreigners hold stable coins, the implied assumption there, the quid pro quo, is the dollar will rise in terms of energy. In other words, you've got to keep energy low. You've got to keep commodities low, because no one's going to hold stable coins, if they need a sandwich. No one's going to hold stable coins if they put diesel in their car, in their truck, the gasoline. They're going to sell stable coins, dollar stable coins, backed by T-bills, to buy food and energy, just like they sold longer dated treasuries in 4+ year record amounts in March. And so that, to me, again, what it suggests is Trump's foreign policy is fighting against Trump's economic policy vis-a-vis stable coins. Now, if we start tokenizing markets, things like that, maybe there's some sense of demand there. But again, on the domestic side, you're kind of shifting the T-bill demand from one pocket to the other. They need new buyers, not shifting it from one to the other. So that's why I'm skeptical on the stable coin.
All right, he's an idiot. So let's look at my comments. My first comment. China has 80,000 tons of gold backing their yuan. That makes it very strong. He totally missed that the yuan is there. Gold is money and a commodity. What is he talking about? So I couldn't resist that one. I thought I put one more in, but maybe not. Anyway, so let's go to Google and what is a commodity? Luke doesn't think gold's a commodity. Okay. Yes, gold is officially classified as a global commodity. As a precious metal, it is highly fungible, meaning 1 ounce of gold is identical to another, traded on major commodity exchanges and used as raw material. Oh, well, Luke said gold's not a commodity. Oh, yeah, he's a real genius, isn't he? So let's ask this question. What is a commodity? Just so we get clarification. A commodity is a basic interchangeable raw material or primary agricultural product used to create other goods. Unlike branded items, all units of a commodity are essentially identical regardless of who produces them. E.g., gold mine in Australia is the same as gold mine in Canada. Hard commodities are natural resources that must be mined or extracted. So, at what point is gold not a commodity? What the fuck's this guy talking? Oh, he's so smart. Oh, the guy's a moron. He's a Keynesian. Then the other thing is, what is weaponizing? Weaponizing a currency is the use of a dominant global currency like the dollar as a geopolitical tool to coerce, punish, or isolate foreign adversaries. By controlling the financial systems used to process global trade, a country can impose severe economic penalties without. So basically, when we do tariffs or we do the other things, that's weaponizing. So, how are you weaponizing gold? All you're doing is having JP Morgan keep the price down. That's not weaponizing it. Again, they're doing it because they want to keep you in the stock market because gold is not traceable and they can't tax us. That's why they're doing it. And nobody owns gold. Gold, the value is way low. Now, one thing that Luke did not talk about was paper versus physical. Most of his discussion was paper gold, and he never mentioned it was paper. Did he ever say physical or paper? No, he just said, well, gold's been down, 4,500. That's paper gold, right? What do we talk about? That's what paper gold is. That's the paper gold. They're using options to keep the price to 4,500, not the physical. China's got physical backing their gold. I don't know. He mentioned all these countries that China was in. It's so they could trade it. It's way over his head. And he said, well, we don't want too strong of a dollar or too weak of a dollar. What the fuck does that mean? The dollar is gone. It has no value. That's how strong it is. None of the dollars have value, but you know what does is gold and silver. And that's what they're doing by putting the gold in all these countries. They're just putting vaults in so you can trade the yuan and go get gold for it. So Saudi Arabia can sit there and sell oil to China, get the yuan, and off they go. Now, as far as Russia, Venezuela, and Iran accepting oil for other currencies, it's because they're trying to go on gold is why the U.S. is attacking Iran and why the U.S. is attacking Russia with Ukraine. And Venezuela was a joke. That had nothing to do with anything. They just wanted to steal the gold. They wanted to steal the oil because we're broke. He doesn't talk about the $40 trillion debt that must be over his head. stable coins backed by treasuries that are worthless. Yeah, I don't get that. The guy misses all the key points. Paper gold versus physical. The fact you can't print physical gold. The fact that the dollar is stronger or weaker has absolutely no bearing on anything. I think what it is prices. So if you trade, if the yuan is 7-1 versus the dollar, that means if you take $100, you get 700 yuan. Big fucking deal. I give Daria money for food in Russia, but that's how much. So I give her $100. It's 70-1. She gets 7,000 rubles. What does that buy? Nothing. Buys a pack of gum. Well, it's seven. I know maybe it's 70,000. It's 100 times 70. Yeah, so 30. So it's 70,000. She gets 70,000 rubles to go grocery shopping with, which it doesn't buy. Again, we saw the wheelbarrows in Germany and the wheelbarrows in Zimbabwe and Venezuela. Rome probably didn't have wheelbarrows at the time. When the dollar goes out, this is what the Keynesians miss. Well, they'll have a stronger dollar. We can't have high oil and high. Who thinks like that? We can have whatever. It doesn't matter. They're all independent. The guy's trying to link the oil to the dollar. What are you talking about? We can't afford it. Well, that's because our dollar's worthless. And that's why oil's so expensive, is our dollar's worthless. And the fact gold's at 4,500 is because China's, Russia, and BRICS are buying the shit out of it. That's why it's up to 4,500. They were trying to price fix it, but now, as Mark McGuire says, a lot of it is now the dog's wagging the tail instead of the tail wagging the dog. So we were trying to price fix it. That's what COMEX was made for. But that's it. How has gold been weaponized? It doesn't even have a fucking value until just recently, where it finally got to 2,000, and now we pumped it up to 5,000. What are you talking about? Gold been weaponized for 50 years. No. The dollar's been worthless for 50 years. So he doesn't get Austrian economics. So everybody who's, it's Luke Broman, he's so smart because he's bald and this and that, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he can't explain it. The dollar is weaponizing. We don't even know what weaponizing means. Oh, they can do sanctions. Well, they can't, because try sanctioning Russia. Oh, yeah, they don't buy anything from us, or China, or any of the BRICS countries are out trading among the BRICS countries. So the biggest points he misses is that the dollar's worthless, that physical gold is where to put your money, not paper. Weaponizing whatever, and high oil prices and high interest rates will, you're going to go broke, which you never mentioned, because of printing. You're printing the money because you need to keep printing money because it's not worth anything. And you're not getting enough money in. What seems to slip his mind, he doesn't quite get that. Doesn't know that gold's a commodity. Oh my God. How do you get on a show and people think you're smart and you don't even know gold is a commodity? Even that, it is money, and that's our key. And in physical world, it's far less than in this base bullshit COMEX world. And the U.S. cannot control the price, and the U.S. does not have any gold, but it certainly can't control the price of it. That's being controlled by China at this point. They've got the physical market, and Russia and a lot of the BRICS countries have it. And India is not saying don't buy gold. I'm sure they buy a ton of gold and silver. All the BRICS countries are, and as more countries join BRICS, they're going to have to buy gold and silver. So that's going to force the price up. So we don't have control. We want a higher or lower gold price. Our dollar, like we can manipulate it being worth more or less. The dollar's not worth anything. These other countries, like India, has a problem. Japan has a problem. The yuan was worthless, but is now, it has a big value because it's backed by gold, as is the ruble. Well, Russia has gold-backed currency. They all have gold back to trade the oil and whatever else they want to trade. It's gold that's trading it. So again, the war is about The war with Iran is we want to steal their oil, not because they're taking yuan for their oil. That's not why they're doing it. Saudi Arabia accepts yuan for their oil, so why aren't we blowing up Saudi Arabia? So we're going to go to every country who buys oil in yuan or rubles. The Russians and the Iranians have a trade rubles for Iranian dollars. So, we can invade. We've lost the Russian war. We've lost the Iran war. Venezuela wasn't a war. They just gave him the guy and nothing changed there. The people in charge are the same people that were in charge before. So these fake wars, we can't afford them. And, we're going to war because they're going on the gold-backed currency. Iran, Russia, China, BRICS. And they're going after all the BRICS members. Oops, that went right over his head too, didn't it? He never mentioned BRICS, never mentions the dollars being printed to death. He never mentions physical versus paper gold. And what he says, gold's not a commodity. I kind of wonder, does this guy have any brains in his head? So Luke Roman is a Keynesian, which means he's a socialist and has no idea what he's talking about. But I wanted to show you that because, Luke Roman said this and Ray Dalio said that. I've already crushed Ray Dalio. I've crushed most of these people except for Egon and Mark McGuire. Alligator doesn't know what he's talking about. And then you've got this Lynette Zhang who's clueless. Oh, we're going to barter with gold and silver. No, gold and silver are money, you idiot. You don't barter. You barter with things like, I don't know, an avocado. I'm going to barter with it. I'm going to trade you an avocado for an orange. That's barter. Barter is when you have no money. As far as I know, gold and silver are money. And as far as I know, you're going to use it to buy things. All right, we're 2.5 hours. Again, your free play. Philadelphia, their ace going today against Ferris Bueller. Take Philly, 4 units, jump on it. Basketball we're going to watch, and then we'll learn, and we'll bet the loser back in game 2. Football, really nothing came in. And I got to refill my straight talk. And tomorrow I got a haircut. My haircut is at 2:15, so it'll be a normal time for this. And then I'll go to I make it late, so then I go to the pool. That's it. Paid the rent. That's fine. Got my new fridge, so I'm happy. My neighbor, I told Alyssa she's delusional and one of these crazy people to avoid. Don't really get in a conversation with her. Just let her be. She's out of her mind, psychopathic. Oh, let's see. There's wars going on. There's massive inflation. The money's not worth anything. Let me worry about a fridge in the hall. The other thing Luke Roman said as I was talking, he said that's what leads to hyperinflation. No, that's not what leads to hyperinflation. They think hyperinflation is when prices rise, the price gets so high. And I keep saying, no, that's not hyperinflation. I read that yesterday. Hyperinflation, and I will read it again. Hyperinflation. The worst step is inflation. Is hyperinflation. The money supply increases, prices increase fast. So when the prices go to the moon, that's what hyperinflation is. But it's the expectations that drive the whole system. People think the prices will go up and they'll keep buying. So it's basically the prices go through the moon, go through the roof. That's hyperinflation when the prices keep going. Now, we're the market. We won't let the prices keep going, will we? So here we're going to have hyperinflation. We're going to say, wow, we just won't buy this. We'll buy that. I'll buy cauliflower. I won't buy Fruit Loops at $10 a box. So if you just substitute away and look at the competition, and I'm going to go to Walmart instead of Kroger's, they can't just raise prices. They can raise them, but nobody's going to buy them. Like I told the manager at Meijer, why do you mark your Coca-Cola $3? Nobody buys it. You're always having it on sale for $2.50, 2 for $5, because that's what you can sell it at, but you can't sell it at $3. Nobody wants to buy it. Otherwise, you wouldn't need the sales. And that's the whole thing, where the prices will only go up if we let it. So you might be printing dollars, and the dollars will be worthless. That's where we are now. But the hyperinflation will not happen because the prices won't go out of control. We just won't buy the goods. We'll buy other goods, and the grocery stores won't be able to sell the product if they make the price too high. So that's not going to happen. Now we might use gold and silver, and as I said, in Ann Arbor, it's 98% for any gold, the Eagle or the Cougaran. So I'm going to take it there once I get the fucking price up. But the U.S. does not control the price of gold. They used to with COMEX, but not anymore. China controls it. So I don't know what this guy's saying. Obviously, clearly a bubblehead or a chucklehead. We used to say that at Hiram Walker. These were people that were just lazy idiots. You know, just stupid people. They're bubbleheads. All right, we got 44.41 and 73.52. Again, these are going down, not because the U.S. wants them to go down. They're going down because people need to buy oil. So I guess they're using their options or their margin calls. These are not. I'm sure China and BRICS want a higher gold price. The U.S. wants you into the stock market, but that's really, if you think about it, what's happening with the petrodollar. Saudi Arabia gets the money for the oil in dollars when it's not getting the gold, you know, and when they get it, they're not putting it into the treasuries. As he said, treasuries are going down. Everybody's dumping them. What's happening is they're putting it into the stock market. They should be putting it into gold too. But right now, the Saudis are taking the money that they're getting and going, I'm going to buy Amazon and Apple. So they're buying stocks, not bonds with the money. Stock market will collapse because it's not a real number. Earnings are 20 and the stock price is 100. Well, no, that doesn't work. And as the economy is cracking, as the dollar's worthless, as prices, as costs go up because the dollar is not worth anything and it takes more dollars to buy it, how does the stock market go up? You can't, because your earnings are going to go down. Stock market's based on earnings going up and new products coming in. And that's not going to happen. Earnings are going to drop. You're not going to have new products. Nobody can buy anything. AI is going to wipe out a lot of people working, which is who's going to buy stuff. AI can't buy anything. So the stock market will collapse. And the gold and silver, again, the key is you can't print it. And the stronger dollar, the weaker yen, whatever the fuck the guy said is absolutely meaningless because at the end of the day, the dollar's not worth anything. And if he thinks Scott Bassett knows what he's doing, he's out of his fucking mind. Guy's a Keynesian and he's an idiot. All right, so 44, 41. What happened to 47? All I care is because I want to sell a Cougaran, so at least I'll get somewhere. I'm hoping for 47, 4,800, but I just got to sell 1 ounce. I think I have till August. I think I have enough money to cover July, but I'm not sure. I'll be close, but I really don't have any backup, so I really need to sell some gold. I don't have to sell an ounce. I could sell a half ounce, which would hold me. And football's coming up, and I'll get football money in, which will hold me. And then I get to go there. But everything's in gold and silver and mantle cards. And that's what I keep telling Alyssa and Daria. I got money, but it's not in cash. I don't want anything in cash. I want it in gold and silver. And we just got to be patient, waiting for it to hit 10,000, 20,000. and that's what'll happen. So at the end of the day, the dollar's worthless. Totally goes over Luke Groman's head. Oh, we can print money and we can just keep printing. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's what the Romans thought. That's what the French and the British and the Spanish and the Amsterdams, that's what they all thought. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sure. And you're an economist? I don't even think he's an economist. I think he's just a moron, basically. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Hopefully that. Again, Philadelphia is the lock today, 4-unit. Bet it and bet it strong. And then we've got we're just going to watch the NBA. Game 2, we're betting the loser back. Football, nothing really. And stock market, we don't even care. It's at 51,000. It's pointless because the dollar's not worth anything anyway. And keep in mind, it's paper gold that Groman's talking about, and he doesn't even understand that. Well, we're continuing the price. No, it's all going to a physical price, you moron. That's what these guys don't understand, the physical versus paper, and they don't even understand it. Oh, we're weaponizing gold. We're giving, they want a higher gold price. The physical price is much higher than the paper price, moron. All right, I've had enough of this. I just wanted to share Luke Groman and everybody. Oh, he's the smartest guy in the world. No. He doesn't get it. He just totally doesn't understand it. It's totally over his head. But he says stuff that you can't challenge because I don't even know what he's saying. He's delusional. So a lot of that going around. Just like Jim Rickards doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, we can print as much money as we want. No, we can't. But this is the problem when you talk and listen to the Keynesians. They'll make comments they can't explain and then they don't explain it to you. They talk at a higher level and they use gobbledygook and you're going, what the fuck's he saying? I don't follow him. What is he saying? I got a master's. I think I can follow him if he's talking in English, which is why you don't like Keynesian, because you don't know what they're talking about. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Feel good and enjoy the weather. And it's not too hot yet, so that's good. And otherwise, good luck on the game. Let's get Philadelphia in. All right. Have a nice day, everybody. Take care. www.teaserking.com. If you want to buy baseball, go to Purchase Picks. And on the far right, it'll be $25 for the week. And buy your picks, and I'll email them to you. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's okay. It's not important. The most important is football's fine. If I have to email you the picks every day, it's not a problem. It all works. All right. Should be a big day today. We got good pitching matchups. All right. Have a good day.